Welcome to a new session on philosophy of education. Great educators and their ideals. Dr. S. Radhakrishnan. Dr. Swayamprabha Radhakrishnan has been one of the finest products of the modern Indian Renaissance. Among the great scholars of modern India, he has been almost as popular as Mahatma Gandhi and Rabindranath Tagore. He proved himself to be the most renowned representative philosophers of India. In him, one could find the combination of a number of different roles, which includes that of a teacher, writer, orator and administrator. He has also been regarded as a forthright exponent of Hinduism to the modern man. As a thinker with a cosmopolitan outlook, he assimilated in himself the traditions of both the East and the West and evolved a philosophy of his own, a remarkable synthesis of Vedanta and absolute idealism. He takes up the monistic character of the Vedantic reality and combines it with some of the important aspects of absolute idealism. He believes that the reality is one like Vedanta, and like absolute idealism, he shows that everything is a necessary aspect of the one. His philosophy can broadly be described as a philosophy of monistic idealism. His vast knowledge of ancient Indian religions and philosophy, together with his extensive acquaintance with the wisdom of the West, made him the right person to serve as a bridge builder between the East and the West. He had the rare qualification of being well versed in the great traditions of both the East and the West. Of course, the basic notions of his philosophy are mostly taken from the Vedantic tradition, but he exhibited an impressive originality in presenting the old and traditional ideas in a very attractive novel manner. He had an unshakable faith in the efficacy of religion to transform the individual lives and to bring about revolutionary changes in the course of the world. According to S. Radhakrishnan, man is a combination of both finite and infinite aspects. The finite aspects that are determined by the empirical or environmental conditions. In the general sense, the bodily self can be described as representing this aspect of man. Radhakrishnan believed that even in his finite embodied existence, his spirituality asserts itself. Hence, it shows that the being of man is a continuous movement towards the realization of that higher spiritual state. In our embodied life, the soul has to pass through various stages, but all these stages are only resting places for him, not his goal. He believed that various births merely provide him with opportunities for directing his energy towards the realization of the goal of existence, which is considered as the ultimate human destiny. Human personality is not determined by physical environment, but the human will be free to decide to win or lose. He considered that the real human freedom is the freedom of will. He strongly followed the ancient Indian tradition like law of karma and believed that our present is determined by our past and the future depends upon the present. But he does not believe that karma or relationship with the past does not mean that man cannot do anything freely, but free action is involved in it. According to him, the law of karma is not fatalism. Like Karl Marx, he also believed that man can change the world. It is easily accessible through right education, that is, the holistic personal development. Need of education. In a broader sense, education is the process of development and growth of a person from early stage to maturity. It is beyond doubt that education is a gradual process by which an individual learns to adapt himself to physical, social, mental and moreover a spiritual environment in various ways. Hence, it implies that this process goes on throughout one's life. All over the world, each society gave great importance to education. In many countries, we would see the primary education is both free and compulsory. According to Aristotle, educated men are as much superior to uneducated men or as the living are to the world. Education is so important due to several reasons, both from an individual's as well as the point of view of society. For an individual, education is so important because it equips him to earn his livelihood, helps in a balanced development, inculcates moral and ethical values, helps to develop qualities required for social well-being. It also contributes towards spiritual development and hence develops a complete human being. That is the holistic development, just as in Mahatma Gandhi's philosophy. Education is also important from the point of view of society as well. Progressive societies require individuals who are physically fit, intellectually well developed, economically self-sufficient and morally high. There is no doubt that education fulfills all the above mentioned developments. Thus, education is necessary if we are to produce well developed, personally satisfied and socially adjusted individuals. Self-development. Like all other contemporary Indian educational thinkers, Dr. S. Radhakrishnan also criticized the present system of education. According to him, our education has not freed us from intellectual bondage. It stimulates the mind without satisfying it. In the first place, Radhakrishnan put freedom as the goal of education, but in the present system, it lacks badly. We do not know what is higher thinking and hence we cannot develop any creativity. Our institution produced only human machines, not human beings. Now, the element of humanity is far away from our young generation. Through right education, Radhakrishnan aimed at complete development of the individual as in Sri Aurobindo's and Mahatma Gandhi's philosophy of education. As a spiritualistic idealist thinker, he also believed that man has a higher level, that is the spiritual level. We are striving to realize and to reach that stage is regarded as our ultimate goal. Man is not at all satisfied with material pleasure alone. He needs a higher level than that of physical. Hence, for him, the aim of education is to train the mind. As he said, the real aim of education is to help man to know the inner essence. Mere physical success and material progress is not the aim of education. We do not rely on diploma or higher degrees. Real education aims at self-development. Again, he added that the character of man may become rhythmic and his soul creative. In the general sense, the primary aim of education from the beginning to end is to acquire knowledge. But what kind of knowledge we need from education? That is the main problem. We would acquire knowledge from books and encyclopedias, but that kind of knowledge cannot transform human mind or personality. Hence, according to Radhakrishnan, the real aim of education is the transformation of the mind from the lower to the higher. It is only possible through putting knowledge in practice. Real transformation or the self-realization of human freedom is a necessity to reach the higher level. He insisted that the freedom of human soul is most valuable. Thus, Radhakrishnan claimed that education should aim at realization of this freedom. This freedom of human soul is the basis of character formation. Man-making education. Almost all contemporary educational philosophers believed that education should be a process of man making. The word man making here in this context meant for character and conduct formation. Dr. S. Radhakrishnan believed that the faith of a nation depends on character of individuals. Our aim is to build a great nation. Now, we have to educate our young generation in such a way that they may have strength of character and conduct. In short, it follows that his ultimate aim through right education to become humanistic and internationalist. According to M. N. Roy, New Humanism expresses a new viewpoint toward the problems of education, which suggests that given opportunity to every human being has the capacity to develop his abilities to an ultimate extent. A welfare state aims at making its citizens more and more free. The real aim of education is to create among the wards a consciousness towards humanity, consciousness towards its right to be human beings, and consciousness of its excellence and dignity. It also aims at teaching self-expression. He believed that it is possible only through the mastery of language. He strongly insists that no education is complete without the development of intuition. Upanishadic teachings identify intuitive knowledge with wisdom and education. Intuitive knowledge is immediate apprehension of mind. It is regarded that intuitive knowledge is genuine knowledge. However, it cannot be achieved only through books and libraries. It requires guidance by the ability test. Therefore, Dr. Radhakrishnan insisted upon the appointment of able teachers, particularly in the institutions of higher learning. Contribution to Indian education. Dr. S. Radhakrishnan had a unique position among the contemporary Indian philosophers. He had the longest and the most intimate experience of both college and university education, Indian and Western. Hence, his vision on education is more pragmatic when compared with other educationists. As the chairman of the University Education Commission, he was instrumental in planning the present higher education in India. Even today, many of his recommendations have to be still worked out as the idea of autonomous colleges. Moreover, his recommendations on education were through and multifaceted and also has a strong philosophical foundations. In all his contributions, we have seen an integral approach by avoiding egoistic advantages. His ultimate aim was to establish altruism instead of egoism in all realms. Apart from all these, his contribution on education has a strong psychological and sociological foundations. He had a holistic approach in each and every aspects of human life. He believed that all aspects of human life has its own values for the entire development. What he aimed to establish through education is to inculcate an integral spiritual outlook on all spheres of life. According to him, man is an integral whole. Everything is internally and integrally related. By following the ancient Indian tradition, he defined education as a process of character formation. He also laid emphasis on democratic of values and therefore asked for inculcation of liberty, equality and fraternity both among teachers and students. One could see an integral approach in Radhakrishnan on all aspects like ideals, means, curriculum, school administration. He also tried to give chance to put every subject in syllabi of education at different stages. Defects of present system of education. Dr. S. Radhakrishnan pointed out the following defects in our educational system. 1. As the universities are functioning properly, they are not fulfilling the important purpose of creating new generation. 2. The standard of Indian universities are very low when compared with Western universities. 3. National and regional languages have not given proper importance. 4. As a country like India, rural education is necessary, but it is neglected. 5. The administration system is not properly designed to give equal opportunities to all the sections of the society. 6. Women education has not been well organized. 7. Religious education has been generally sectarian, which is not consistent in a secular state. 8. The working conditions of teachers in the universities are not satisfactory. 9. The curriculum is not properly diversified and integrated. 10. Lack of proper funding. Aims and ideals of education. The recommendations concerning the role of university education by S. Radhakrishnan is as follows. 1. In the first place, he gives importance to inculcate and promote basic human values and the capacity to choose between alternative value system. 2. By following the ancient tradition, his aim was to preserve and foster our great traditions and culture. He also recommends to synthesize the East and West tradition. 3. Enrich Indian languages, especially highlights the value of Sanskrit. Promote the use of such languages as means of communication, development and unity. 4. In all realms, we have to promote rational outlook and scientific temper. 5. To promote holistic nature of development in the individuals and nation as such by rendering national service programs. 6. To convince the students that they are the part and parcel of society and the nation as a whole. 7. Inculcate the responsibility and the commitment to society and nation. 8. To contribute the entire service for the improvement of the educational system, so as to subserve the community. 9. To promote the development of science and technology and make aware of the need. 10. To make aware of the problems and value erosion in present education. Purpose of education. By following the tradition of India, Dr. Radhakrishnan agreed that it is the aim of education to train us to apprehend the eternal values, to appreciate the supreme human virtues. We must be educated not for cruelty and power, but for wholehearted love and kindness towards everything. We must develop the freshness of feeling for nature, sensitiveness of soul to human need. We must foster the freedom of the mind, the humanity of the heart and the integrity of the individual, etc. From the primary classes onwards, we have to try to love truth, beauty and goodness. Only those who are disciplined, the dedicated, the pure in heart and gentle in spirit can achieve universal peace. To create and maintain the temper of mind should be the aim of education in a civilized society. According to Radhakrishnan, through education, we have to convince the transience of the mere material wealth and the transcendent importance of the spirit in man. Indian culture has stood for the ideal of freedom of thought. Hence, the essential aim of education for Radhakrishnan has been the recognition of universal human worth and dignity, of unity among diversity, of cooperation despite differences. Education has a key role in maintaining social order. If we properly plan our education to eliminate the sources of iniquities and injustice, we can easily achieve it. Hence, education is the means for the reconstitution of society. We have to prepare ourselves to maintain democratic order. In such a society, the development of each and every individual can become a producer, a citizen and a human being. He must have opportunity to develop to the utmost his innate potentialities like physical, mental and spiritual. The basic principle of democracies is the equality of opportunity, and that can be realized only if we have faith in the dignity of the human soul. we have to get opportunity for self-expression and development. Kinds of education. The following are the kinds of education viewed by S. Radhakrishnan. 1. Religious education. Radhakrishnan also supports religious education along with other contemporary educational thinkers. He believed that man is a combination of both physical and spiritual aspects. Hence, for Radhakrishnan, religion is not the instruction of a particular religion. It is actually a means for developing spiritual intuition, because the aim of religion is spiritual and not merely a change in metaphysical ideas. Religion's education is a means for propagation of the ideal of world brotherhood. Real religion is spiritual religion. Therefore, religious education will provide freedom and spiritual freedom. 2. Moral education. He wanted to make moral education a compulsory part of education at primary and secondary levels, like the views of Sri Aurobindo and Mahatma Gandhi. Without moral education, no education institution fulfill their objective of educating the youth of the country. In Indian culture, it is relevant to give prime importance to moral education. Moral education is the education of will. It should start from that family itself. The moral education clarifies the goal of life, without which no meaningful life is possible. Hence, the greatness of a country cannot be measured by its progress in physical civilization, but by its rural and spiritual advancement. Now, let us summarize. By following the tradition of India, Radhakrishnan believed that it is the aim of education to train us to apprehend the eternal values, to appreciate the supreme human virtues. We must encourage the freedom of the mind, the humanity of the heart, and the integrity of the individual mind. To create and maintain the temper of mind should be the aim of education. Education is a gradual process of development of a person from infancy to maturity. He learns to adapt himself to physical, social, mental and spiritual environment in different ways. Hence, it follows that education goes on throughout one's own life. His views on education aims at individual development and the development of the society. Individual is the part and parcel of the social development. The present system of education for Radhakrishnan has not freed us from intellectual bondage. He put freedom as the primary goal of education. Through right education, Radhakrishnan aimed at complete development of the individual. As a spiritualistic idealist, he also believed that man has a higher level, that is the spiritual one. We are striving to realize and to reach that stage is regarded as our ultimate goal. Man is not at all satisfied with material pleasure alone. He needs a higher level than that of physical one. There are a few assignments for you to work out. 1. Collect Dr. Radhakrishnan's speeches on different occasions. Refer his occasional speeches and writings. 2. Conduct a debate on holistic education propounded by Dr. Radhakrishnan. 3. Conduct a class seminar on the merits and defects of the present education system with reference to Dr. Radhakrishnan. You can refer following books for further study. 1. Dr. Radhakrishnan, An Idealist View of Life, London, George Ellen and Unwin, Publishers, 1917. 2. Dr. Radhakrishnan, The Philosophy of Rabindranath Tagore, Baroda, Good Companions, 1961. 3. Dr. Radhakrishnan, The Hindu View of Life, London, George Ellen and Unwin, 1961. 4. Moorhead and Rad, Contemporary Indian Philosophy, London, George Ellen and Unwin, 1956. 5. Dr. Radhakrishnan, The Concept of Man, London, George Ellen and Unwin. 6. Frankena W. K. Philosophy of Education. Thank you for watching this program. Let's meet in another session with another topic. Till then, bye.